Hello, my name is Willemijn Verdegaal, and I'm one of the co-heads of the Climate and ESG Solutions at Ortec Finance. So it's my pleasure today to talk to you about our climate solutions and how it fits in what we do for our clients. So a quick word about Ortec Finance. So we are a leading provider of technology and solutions for risk and return management. On our climate solutions, we have a wide array of offerings for our clients, ranging from climate scenario analysis, temperature alignment analysis, and extreme weather damages calculations. Lately, we've been speaking a lot to our clients about what we call double materiality, where mainly they ask us, how can I align my portfolio to meet climate goals while also managing my climate-informed financial risk? And we get clients that are very eager to set net zero pledges, but they want to make sure that they can still meet their investment objectives. So we have developed Climate Maps and Climate Align, two tools to help them in their journey. So Climate Maps is really about understanding what the impact of climate-related risks, such as transition and physical risks, are on the portfolio's risk and return. It's very risk-oriented, very much about climate scenario analysis. On the impact side, there the investor would like to know, how can I reduce my portfolio's contribution to climate change? So that's very much about decarbonization. And we like to use these tools in tangent to answer their questions and support them in their work in this field. So how to go about this? Step one is really about engaging in quantified and consistent analytics. So we run the scenario analysis and the temperature alignment analysis based on a consistent set of underlying assumptions. So you're comparing apples to apples. Very briefly, an overview of our standard in-house scenarios is that we order a Paris orderly pathway, a Paris disorderly pathway, and a failed transition pathway. These can be made bespoke in order to meet the client's specific views and wishes. A little bit about the scenario analysis, Climate Maps. So here it's about really making different models that each have their own respective modeling history speak to each other. We work with our strategic partner, Cambridge Econometrics, to combine the macro modeling that they do, which translates climate inputs into macroeconomic indicators like inflation and GDP. And then we input those into Ortec Finance's stochastic financial model. So we are making forward-looking scenario sets where we effectively substitute historical data with climate-informed forward-looking data to make stochastic analytical sets, which you can then run your SAA and ALM analysis on. On the Climate Align side, we work with a variety of proprietary and open source data in order to calculate a temperature alignment score at the portfolio level, but also going down to the individual holdings level. Then the second step is very much about combining the insights and the results. So we have the temperature alignment score. We also have the level of climate risk at an asset class level, a region level, and a sector level. And we can map these together in order to see where there are kind of risks and opportunities in the portfolio from both those dimensions. And it allows our clients to optimize their portfolio, different levels of granularity along these two axes. By the way, the climate level of climate risk metric can be made appropriate to however the risk metrics are managed inside the organization, such as a VAR or an expected losses or other metrics that are useful in the context of the investor's risk management processes. It can also be used to see how at a more detailed level, if the fair value estimates that traditionally hold still apply under climate scenarios. Finally, I'd like to just touch upon a case study of looking at green benchmarks and analyzing them across different climate scenarios. So first, if we take a gray benchmark, they really don't do much to improve the alignment score. Our research also shows they don't do much to manage stranded asset risk. They also do not really help in managing the volatility of a potentially disorderly transition. They also don't really help in managing those network impact, those contagion effects from a transition. And also they don't take into account physical risk exposure. Low carbon benchmarks are already a significant improvement. So they really do help reduce the amount of carbon being financed through the portfolio. They do support stranded asset risk, and they do protect against some volatility if a transition were to be disorderly. However, they're usually not there yet in also managing these contagion impacts, and most carbon benchmarks do not yet take into account the physical impacts of climate risk. We have modeled low carbon benchmarks versus a more traditional benchmark across our climate scenarios, where you see the red line is a failed transition, and you will notice that actually there is no difference in performance in a failed transition pathway on a normal benchmark or a low carbon one. The low carbon benchmarks, by the way, are the dotted lines. And you see there that the solid red line and the dotted line follow the same path. You look at the orange, the disorderly transition, you see that a gray benchmark really does get a hit in the disorderly transition part, where you see that big dip down to negative 15%. And you see that the green benchmark already protects a lot. The dotted line is much less severe. Finally, an orderly transition, there you see that the dotted green line is slightly above the fixed green line. And you see that actually a low carbon benchmark performs even slightly better than the normal benchmark, even if there's an orderly transition to a 2-degree scenario. So with this information, we'd really encourage our clients to then act upon it. We really feel they can comfortably and confidently set a decarbonization target. And ensure that their climate risk exposure implications are integrated into the investment decision-making process. On the implementation side, they can choose to underweight, overweight, aspects of their portfolio, or in tangent or alternatively engage in active ownership strategies. Of course, on the back of the data, you can monitor progress, and of course, it's also ready to go for your TCFD-style disclosures. Finally, just to bring home our key messages of the talk today, is to really make sure that you understand that climate risk management and aligning your portfolio are two different objectives and require different tooling. If you're going to use this, specific tools for specific purposes, but would like to compare the results, make sure that the underlying assumptions, especially the scenario assumptions, are consistent. It's really interesting to combine the insights from the different tools to then really shape your strategy going forward in a holistic way. And it is really important that when you do purchase products such as low carbon benchmarks in order to act on your insights, that you're aware of specific strengths and limitations of those products. That's all for me today. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and we look forward to being in touch.